Greetings and salutations, it's Dave Duford here at Final Expense Agent Mentor, where I help agents like you succeed in selling life insurance, and that is exactly what we're going to be discussing today. The purpose of today's video is to give you my 8 specific strategies to help you close more insurance sales. I don't care what you sell, all of these tactics will be useful in your pursuit to help people and close more deals. So why don't we jump right in and get this bad boy started. So the first tactic that I want you to start doing as you get into the close is to assume that you will make the sale. So here's the thing, guys. When we make a sale, we want to ask a question to ask for the sale. However, we're not asking a yes or no question. We are assuming that they will purchase at this point in the sales process. So our question we're asking of them is which of these products will work best for you, or which option works best for you. Now, why do we do that? Well, psychologically, it directs the person's mindset to making a decision today. That's number one. And then number two, you've spent all this time with them, and if you've done a presentation that's effective, it's pre-qualified them, it's helped them understand what their options are, you've built value and trust, everything that's crucial with the sales presentation, they're going to be wanting to make a decision. They wouldn't have stuck with you all this time if they didn't have any initial interest in it anyway. So always assume the sale. It's not a jerk thing to do. As we'll describe here in a little bit, there's a way to present the offer that's simple and allows them to pick the choice that best fits them. So that's number two, is to simplify the offer. The worst thing you can do is when you go to close for any type of sale, you don't want to be in a position where you complicate matters by offering, say, 4, 5, 10 different options. It doesn't matter if we're in the world of Starbucks today where we get the perfect type of order that best fits what we want to accomplish. The reality is, in a sales situation, the more options there are, the more there is to consider, and the less people are more prone to make a decision. More options usually leads to more confusion, and confusion always leads to people who are afraid or don't want to buy. So simplify your presentation of options. I recommend presenting somewhere between 2 and 3 different packages at most. And the way you want to present it, of course, is give them the control of here's different options. The way I do it in Final Expense, I pre-qualify and budget. And then the 3 products I show fit within that budget. And I make a recommendation based off of budgetary and goal concerns. So what they're presenting, you know that's going to fit what they want to accomplish. But you're giving them the power to make a decision and making it very easy to buy. Again, don't complicate the close. All you're trying to do here is just make these people a customer. You'll see them later on in life. You'll sell them more. Please don't throw a bunch of products together at once. Make a one-time offer, very simple. Maybe come back and do an upsell in the same sales conversation. But the initial offer should be 2 or 3 options, a recommendation, and of course, up to this point, a presumable close, which one works best for you. Point number 3 is to pre-qualify to reduce closing resistance. Now, if you've never watched my videos, I'm a big advocate of pre-qualification. So what that means is that before I even ask for the deal, I want to make sure I've got a pretty high chance that I'm spending time with somebody who's already well predisposed to buy. I call these people qualified prospects. The alternative of that is a unqualified suspect. So somebody who's an unqualified suspect doesn't fit at least one of the buying criteria necessary to progress towards making an offer. It doesn't mean they won't buy, but it's very unlikely that they will. So my goal when I sit down and make a presentation is I want to effectively pre-qualify to see if these people are even the right kind of prospects for my product, so that I can save time. And then if they aren't, then I can go on to somebody else. So the close will be so much easier if you take the time to pre-qualify. That's one thing I want to make clear here to you guys. A lot of people love hearing closing tactics and what language patterns to use, and it's the thrill of getting the deal. It comes right down to the climax of it, and certainly there's a lot of fun in doing that. But the reality is that a good sale is generated and developed over time prior to that. Close should be a thought after the fact. It shouldn't be that complicated, because if you do your sales effectively, like the way I teach, you'll have all this stuff taken care of well in advance, so the close is just automatic. Point number 4 is to use creative terminology relative to the client's profession. So let me explain what this means. I learned this from Bert Meisel. This is a guy who's deceased, but a great resource for life insurance agents. And he taught this in one of his books. I'm looking at my bookshelf over here. I think it's No, I Can't Afford It. It may be one of the other ones like Saturday Always Comes. The concept is very simple. So all these insurance companies, right, they've got these elaborate, exotic names for term insurance or whole life insurance. And then consumers pre-assume what term life or whole life insurance is. So like, for example, whole life insurance is perfect. All the financial gurus immediately say whole life is bad. And people who are somewhat concerned about that and listen to those shows, whenever an insurance agent says, hey, we offer what's called whole life insurance, immediately it draws up an image based off of this constant effort by these guru types to tell them that it's bad, so they immediately close a wall off in a lot of circumstances. So it's good to come up with creative ways to describe what it is you're doing that's still accurate but allows the client to keep an open mind. So the way Bert Meisel taught this was he would take the insurance products he would sell and he would present usually 3 options, maybe 2. Sometimes there would be 4, but usually it's 2 or 3. And instead of calling it the Ultra Protector Term Plus Advantage Home Plan or whatever, he would take the 3 plans. Let's say that's what he was selling. And let's say the client was a precious metal dealer. He would call the one plan that he thought was the least attractive, the bronze plan. Then he would call the second step up a silver plan. And then the plan he wanted to sell that he thought was the best, he'd label it the gold plan. So this is an easy explanation here. And we can use this with, if you're just a B2C guy, you sell to people who live in their own homes. You're not selling to business people. You can use the good, better, best approach with bronze, silver, gold. That works very well because everybody kind of understands that concept. But if you work with business owners, think about their profession. Do a little research on what the best quality products they sell do. So if you work with a plumber, maybe you look at the difference between toilets. I don't know, maybe that's not a good one. But if, let's say you're an air conditioning guy, right? You're working with an air conditioning guy and you're trying to sell them a key man policy, or maybe you're selling them, some sort of, disability policy. What kind of air conditioners are the best in the business? What are the worst? And then take the names and then plug them in. It'll get people's attention and they'll immediately know what you're trying to convey to them. That, oh, this is a quality difference. Well, I want the best quality because I'm all about the best quality. Hopefully that makes sense. So use creative terminology to help drive that point through. Number 5, we're not that far ahead yet. Build internal tension, not external pressure. So it's really important. You're going to experience objections to your offer. People will say, well, I need to think about it. People are going to say, I need to talk to my kids or parents or my wife or whatever their decision is. The key to any rebuttal is not to apply pressure in a disrespectful, ingenuine way. And an effective salesperson will go back to what information he gathered earlier through his pre-qualification stage and then leverage that information, the urgency, the emotion, the things that are motivating him to consider buying a product like this. And you can leverage that and build internal tension, reminding the client in a respectful way of why it's so important to buy a policy for whatever kind of insurance they're looking at, as opposed to using your pressure tactics and applying them externally to the person. You can take what they just told you, all the reasons it's important, and simply remind them of how profound and impactful this decision is today, that if they decide to make it, what good it's going to do, not just for themselves, but for the rest of their lives, the people they leave behind. So build that internal pressure, or I should say internal tension is a better word, not external pressure. Okay, point 6, shut up. So quick story, when I was buying my Honda minivan several years back, I had a great salesperson, very good pre-qualifier. I had fun fooling with him. And I got down to the close, and he was offering me a monthly premium, or sorry, a monthly amount to pay for a 3-year loan. And I wanted it at a certain level. And he made an offer, and I decided, being the sales trainer that I am, that I was going to shut up and see how long I could keep this guy quiet or not talking as a useful thought experiment. Because the strategy when you sell something is that when you make the offer and you ask them, which one do you want to start with today? You have to sit back, you have to shut your mouth, and then allow the client to think through what it is that it's important to them, to go through the mental jujitsu of coming up and weighing the options to arrive at a decision they're confident with. If you begin to interrupt them at any course of the process, you will interrupt their mental thinking pattern. They're arranging things in their heads. There's a lot of stuff going on in it, but you want to allow them to mentally get there. Because if you interject in the sale, if you try to get in the way of this mental thought process, you're going to confuse them. You're going to set them off on the wrong direction. And ultimately what's going to happen is that they're going to delay because they just aren't completely convinced that this is perfect for them. So bottom line, with this deal I did, I felt like an attorney, probably just like 2 or 3 minutes. And then I just said, I came back and he still closed me at the higher rate. So it was pretty good. But you get the point. It was really good, effective work. Even if it takes several minutes, be quiet. Trust me. Trust the process. They're not going to walk away. Don't get nervous and try to interject. Just sit back, relax, allow them the space to think it through and to make that determination. Number 7, when you're going for closing, you want to make the best options or best opportunities out of sales. Always make sure that you isolate objections. So real quick script on isolating objections here. Let's say you make an offer, which one works best for you, and they say, I need to think about it. Well, you always say, hey, that's fine. A lot of people who buy from me say they need to think about it first. How do you mean when you say it? They'll sit back and say, well, I don't know. I'm just not sure this policy is right for me at this price. It just seems pretty expensive. I've had some second thoughts on it. And then the way you isolate the objection at this point is once they've told you what it is that there is, of course, they threw their smoke screen up, which is I need to think about it. The next thing they did is they actually isolated something and told you specifics. The price is too expensive. Well, what you need to do at this point is not go to work on that objection immediately. You need to isolate that from any other potential objections, because if you just go to work on that and you assume the sale at this point, yeah, you're going to get some sales, but there may be another objection that needs to be covered too. Especially if you don't do a lot of pre-qualifying, you'll find that there's going to be multiple objections and you need to take care of it then. So how do you do that? You say, well, Mr. Jones, I see what you're saying about price, but beyond price, is there any other objection? Is there any issues that you have with taking out a policy with me today? Then I'll sit back and say, no, I think that sounds good. So what you're saying is if I can resolve this price issue you have, we can get you a plan that you like, you'd be willing to do business with me today, correct? Yes. So that is the if-then proposition statement, so that you know you're on the same boundary, of course, that you can make the sale. But in doing so, you know that's the only thing in the way of actually getting somewhere. So point number 8, the last one here, is always cool down your sales. So this is really important. When you're making sales, when you're getting out there and you actually close the deal, you write up the deal, take about 5 minutes at the end of the sales call to talk about anything other than insurance. The reason you want to do that is because people don't remember facts, okay? I'm sure there's 160 IQ people that remember everything, but your average client is not going to remember every single word that you said. They're not even going to remember most of what you told them about the insurance policy. They're going to remember what the premium is, maybe. They may not even remember the amount of coverage, but they know kind of it was a good deal. And that it was a good deal is an emotional response. They'll say something like that. My agent was a good agent. He took time. He educated me. I feel really good about him. I feel really good about him. So when you take the time to cool down a sale, to go over this, to talk about anything other than insurance, it takes the pressure and the buyer's remorse away to some extent. It leaves a good emotional vibe, because when you leave, the last thought, the last interaction is what they'll remember you by. A positive handshake. Thank you so much for your business. Congratulations on getting covered. The good positive vibes. That's what people are going to remember well into the future. And so that is the kind of stuff that will prevent them from lapsing. It will prevent them from replacing you because they felt you were really good and an honest person. They'll just feel this way without really even remembering the specifics of the plan. I can't tell you how many times I've run into people who don't remember the name of the company. They don't remember the price or even the coverage or even the terms of how the plan works, but they remember that the guy was a good guy and he did a good job of helping him out. And I mean, that's all you need to save a lot of business and keep a lot of it. And so do that. Take that extra few minutes just to reinforce the good vibes and make sure your deals are closed. My name is David Duford. What you've been watching today is sales training for insurance agents that I do every day on my YouTube channel. If you haven't joined, I do recommend that you would, and the way you do that is just click the subscribe button and then the bell beside it. You'll get notifications every time one of my videos is uploaded. I love interacting with my audience. My passion in this business is helping agents succeed no matter what kind of insurance that they sell. That's why I do these videos pretty much daily. If you would like to learn more about the organization that I represent, go to my website. It's feagentmentor.com. I recruit life insurance agents. Currently, I recruit final expense agents primarily. I also have a little bit of work with agents in other insurance such as mortgage protection or Medicare. More of that will be coming later on down the line. But primarily, my focus is on taking agents interested in final expense and training them up, mentoring them to be successful. Again, if that's something you're interested in doing, my website is feagentmentor.com. You can find out more about that. You can also, of course, check out my YouTube videos. I've got lots of training, lots of stuff to help everybody out in whatever circumstance they are in. Okay, my name is Dave Duford, as you've heard several times. I will see you next time. Take care.